Alrighty, let's get started. Um, so quickly for some announcements, I will be doing um, all right, we're gonna give it a few seconds for people to join, but it's getting a little bit late over here, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So we're gonna get right into it. What's up, Philip? Um, but quickly for some announcements, I'm gonna be doing free market updates for the next week or two, just to get the community a little bit more active to give back to you guys and just to be a little bit more involved as well. So hopefully you guys join and we get as many people in here as possible. And another thing is Freddie's going to be releasing a free version of the TCT. It'll basically have everything that the TCT usually has, except it'll be a little bit more limited in terms of you'll only be able to analyze, I think, one, maybe two or three pairs at a time before having to clear your confluences and then go to the next pair. So if you're only trading one pair, then it's perfect for you. You don't really need anything else. But other than that, that is basically all I have, and I'll go over everything again at the end. Um, but yeah, it's a new month. Last month closed last week. So let's go through really quickly and take a look at what everything or what's been going on across the markets, and see if our bias needs to change from a higher time frame perspective. Here it seems like it does not. EuroCAD on the monthly time frame is currently bullish. On the weekly time frame, it is also currently bullish. Daily time frame, nothing really changes except for our structure point, which we have closed. We closed above this structure point right here, meaning that right here is our lower high or higher low to create the next higher high. EuroCAD isn't something that I look at and I say, wow, that's fantastic, even though we do have two time frames in sync for sure. It's really, really choppy coming into this area right here. So nothing too crazy. I don't think that I'm going to trade this at all this week, and it's not really interesting to me. We do have a little bit of an area of interest potentially right here, but I don't think that price is coming into this area anytime soon. Therefore, we are not interested in EuroCAD. AUD NZD. AUD NZD has had an extremely strong push to the upside. On a weekly time frame, we had created a higher high and just pushed even higher. On a daily time frame, same thing. We just created another higher high. We had entered this position all the way down here, which we could have held potentially all the way to here, but no person in their right mind would do that. Um, Therefore, we just closed at the 1 to 10 whenever that happens. I think that there could have been potentially a few more other areas that we could have entered this market, but as of right now, there's nothing for us. We're pulling back into what I would assume would be a weekly area of interest. Um, we've pushed so high that price needs to kind of mitigate some of this empty space, potentially even having a complete turnaround, because this is an area on like a monthly time frame which has had quite a few reactions to the downside. Now, one thing we have to consider is price opened on the month and just pushed directly downwards. We have almost no wick at the top here. So price may revisit this area to create, even if it's a small wick, it needs some kind of a wick. So um, that is something to consider. For this week, it's nothing that we can trade. Price needs to come back to an area of previous support or resistance. Euro JPY. Euro JPY, highest time frame is the monthly. We just broke above this structure point. We closed up there. And on the weekly time frame, we have also created a higher high. Seems like we are revisiting previous structures on that weekly time frame. On the daily time frame, we have touched down into this EMA, which could potentially give us the momentum we need to push higher. We also have this area of interest right here. We have one, two, some wicks, three, four, five structure points. This could be our sixth touch in order to break those highs. Um, we are underneath the EMA on the 4-hour time frame, which isn't the best. Ideally, we would be trading above the EMA and using it as support, as we have seen price doing in the past. We could potentially, let me remove this. We could potentially see price we could maybe see price breaking above this level right here and using it as a support. So if that happens, then we would also be above the 4-hour time frame, and then maybe we could take some buys into this structure point, or maybe even into the daily structure point, which would be all the way up here, right? This is nice because this is a daily area of interest, not really an area of interest. As you can see, there's only 2 touches, but I do think that it's a well-respected level. And not only is it a well-respected level, but it also coincides with that EMA pretty well. So if price does break above, then we might see a pullback to continue pushing higher. This is a trade that I'll probably watch for. I probably won't actively trade it just yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. We already went over this one. Euro NZD. Did we already go over this one as well? Euro NZD, daily time frame. No, this is a different one. Okay. Looks very similar to AUD NZD. So Euro NZD monthly time frame is currently kind of pushing up into into almost all-time highs, at least into all-time highs that have been since 2020. Weekly time frame is currently bullish. We have created a higher high and are pulling back into previous structures. Our most recent previous structures are going to be these daily highs, which could turn into a support zone. And it also includes this wick right here. So what we ended up doing is we took this little buy right here for a 1 to 2.2 price. This was on a Friday, so I actually ended up closing the trade Friday before markets closed, and on Monday we were already in another trade, so I decided not to re-enter this position, even though we could have gotten a pretty fantastic 1 to 3, 1 to 4, or whatever else it might have been. I mean, this one could have kept running all the way into daily structure as I was actually going to take it there. Next, what I expect to happen is a pullback into previous structure, and then we could probably target these this high right here. Overall, there's still quite a bit of pulling back that needs to happen. I would say at least another week of pulling back. So I don't think that this is going to be ready this week. So we're just going to move past. NZD CHF on a monthly time frame has created another bearish candle. On the weekly time frame, we had a bearish engulfing and a continuation to the downside. Now, this was a trade that we took 2 weeks ago. Really nice sell on NZD CHF. We also took, I believe, a trade on, was it USD CHF for, I can't remember. It was at the same time as this trade right here. And on GBP USD, we'll have to see once we get there. Anyways, weekly time frame, bearish engulfing, lower low. We are at all-time lows, so taking buys here would be a little bit stupid. Lower low there. Daily time frame, we have this previous daily structure. We have an area of interest as well. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 structure points right there. If price was to come back into this daily area of interest, then we could probably take a continuation to the downside. As of right now, I'm not really interested in selling outside of a daily area of interest, even though that's kind of what price did right here. We were supposed to pull back, and we failed to do so. And on top of everything else, we are also above this 4-hour EMA. So potentially we could take sells like we did here if price breaks below the 4-hour EMA, but that would be a very, very risky scenario. We might keep an eye on this one. I'm just going to mark it down as a sell, but we're not going to put it um, in our watch list for this week. NZD JPY. NZD JPY has created a lower low on the monthly. We're kind of stuck above this EMA here. I don't think that we're going to break below it. It seems like we are already seeing a reaction from it. Um, Weekly time frame, we have also created a higher high underneath this EMA, however, and on the daily time frame created a lower low. So there's a bunch of difference in terms of trend. Monthly time frame is bearish, weekly time frame is bullish, and daily time frame is bearish. There is quite a bit of structure around this area, a lot of reaction, reversal. So that might be something that we can capitalize off of. 4-hour time frame has shifted bullish. We have pulled back into this double bottom with the wick, and price has begun to push up from this area. Now, do I think that price is going to come back into our daily area of interest? I honestly highly doubt it. I don't think that we're going to make it all the way down to here. I think price might just create a small pullback, break above the EMA, pull back again, and then just take off. I think that there are going to be other NZD pairs that are much cleaner and easier to trade. For right now, we'll mark this as a buy because I do think that the buyers are more inclined to take over this market than the sellers are, especially after a reaction like this from the area of interest. We'll come back and take a look at that in a little bit. Weekly time frame on CAD CHF is bearish. Monthly time frame is extremely bearish as well. Weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is at a lower low, so we would have to wait for a pullback into previous structure, which right here would be these wicks and bodies. See, I truly don't think that price is going to make it back to that area of interest, considering we've already created structure right here that we have also retested and sold below. Therefore, I think that I'm good on taking this trade. CAD CHF is at all-time lows. Price has never been this low before, and I'm not interested in taking buys against the trend. I also don't want to sell into the abyss because I have no profit targets. So not interested in that. Weekly time frame on or monthly time frame on Euro AUD. I would actually consider this the most recent structure point. So we are bullish. Weekly time frame. Weekly time frame is also currently bullish. Daily time frame is also currently bullish. However, if we were going to use a different structure point to actually understand, because this is like huge, huge push. I believe this is Trump's whatever he called it, Liberation Day. So aside from the Liberation Day, what is price doing? It is currently bearish and then it shifts bullish. So price is technically bullish on the daily time frame, which would actually line up with what market structure is either way. So weekly's bullish, daily's bullish, 4-hour is currently bullish. It seems like we are creating a inverted head and shoulders here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. If we can break above this EMA and then retest the neckline right here, that could be potential grounds for some buys. We also have this area of interest, which is pretty nice, right at this level. Our 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. So 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. Well, actually, you could probably count this as an elbow. Therefore, we shifted bullish. This engulfed the previous candle, therefore creating an elbow, engulfing to the downside and shift the structure to the upside. So this is actually not a bad idea to trade to the upside. Weekly's bullish. We'll mark this down for buys and then come back and take a look at it. I only want to pick something that really stands out to me and looks like a great trade. Monthly time frame here is on GBP AUD is bullish. Weekly time frame is also currently bullish. Retesting this weekly EMA, daily time frames underneath the EMA. We kind of created this lower low, retesting previous structure, retesting the double top right here. So that's a double top. Or the head and shoulders. So there's probably going to be a bit of continuation to the downside. Daily time frame's bearish. 4-hour time frame is also bearish. So we actually created a lower low on the 4-hour, and now we are trying to push above this EMA. It's likely going to move the same way as Euro AUD. Euro AUD is actually much cleaner than GBP AUD, so we'll just stay away from this one. GBP JPY monthly time frame is currently bullish. Now, the reason I'm checking the monthly time frame is because the month closed last week, and we want to stay as up to date on what price is showing us as possible and just not disregard anything. I only do this once a month, so bear with me. Weekly time frame here is bullish. We just created a higher high and have retested some previous structures as well. Daily time frame is currently bearish. It seems like we might be doing something similar to right here, where price broke below the EMA and might be breaking back above the EMA really shortly. And that would be in line with what the higher time frames are doing. Monthly time frame is bullish. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish. 4-hour time frame is bullish. So we actually created a head and shoulders right here. There might be a little bit of a pullback to create the weekly candle, and I believe that there will be a continuation to the upside in line with what we think the other JPY pairs are probably going to do as well. So we'll keep an eye on this one. I do like this just about as much as I like. Actually, I prefer GBP JPY over Euro JPY. All right, CHF JPY weekly time frame is bullish. Monthly time frame is also very bullish. Now you'll notice here we have opened, immediately went to the downside, and there's this wick that seems like it needs to get filled. We're gonna do one of two things. We're gonna actually fill this wick and close with a bullish candle this month, or we're gonna create some kind of structure up here, maybe a bigger wick to the upside, and then we're gonna fill in this empty space that last month left. Which is going to happen? Well, right now we have a bearish engulfing weekly candle, so that's not really fantastic for the buyers. Weekly time frame is bullish, however. What I do like here is the fact that that price has returned to the EMA. Now, the EMA is usually well respected, especially on CHF JPY. Price came back into the EMA, gave us a doji, and is having a reaction from that level. We are, however, underneath this 4-hour EMA, and we are at previous structure there as well. Similar situation to Euro JPY, very, very similar looking situation. So what we're going to want to wait for is price to break above this support resistance level and retest above it. If not, then we could probably use this to scalp to the downside and potentially break underneath the daily EMA. However, if we do break below the daily EMA, then we're probably going to sell for quite a while on at least this JPY pair here. So for buys, it would look like this. And for sells, there would need to be more price action. This is not like if you notice this market structure right here looks very similar to market structure that trends upwards. This is not a bearish market structure at all. So we'll keep an eye on this one. It's kind of in the same boat as the other JPY pairs here. Okay, USD JPY. USD JPY is currently bullish on the monthly time frame. Now, if you notice on the monthly time frame, what we have is a huge push to the upside, a pullback, and then a doji candle. Now, what we did on the monthly time frame here is we opened to the downside, and now I believe that we can actually shoot to the upside and create a higher high, or not a higher high, but a structure above these candles right here. So that would require a lot of buying momentum. Weekly time frame is currently bullish or bearish, sorry. We are selling from right here all the way down to here. You can see how price retested this level 2 times, failed to break above it. This EMA has also done the Lord's work in holding price down. Price tried to break above and then failed, so we sold back underneath. That is something that we'll have to consider. If the buyers are going to be in this market, they're going to have to take over. They're going to have to take over that EMA. So they're going to have to break above the daily EMA here. They're going to have to break above the 4-hour EMA here. And it's going to look just like these other JPY pairs where we have a support zone and a resistance zone right above current price action. And if our buyers are going to buy, then they're going to have to break above the EMA, retest, and then take off to the upside. So you guys can kind of decide which of the JPY's pairs look better, or we can decide that together. Okay, we already went over this. Did we already go over GBP CAD? GBP CAD, I think we did. Or maybe not. All right, GBP CAD. Weekly time frame, bullish, created a higher high. Daily time frame, also bullish. 4-hour time frame has created some consolidation up here, similar to this in my eyes. Almost like if we were to take a line and draw it like directly across the middle right here, it would look like a mirror image. Like we have the same price action happening right here. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to sell, but there is a chance that that might happen. These are just patterns that I'm seeing. Now, we are also, if you like trend lines, we are also kind of trading underneath this trend line here. We are also at an area of a reversal. Lots of past reversal happening in this level, lots of huge wicks to the upside. Does that mean for us? That means if we're trying to trade with the trend, which is currently bullish, right? Monthly time frames bullish, weekly time frames bullish, daily time frame is bullish, then what we need is we need price to break above this area, retest this area, and then continue to go to the upside. Okay. Personally, I'm not too interested in this right now, so let's move on. Monthly time frame on CAD JPY is bearish. Weekly time frame is bullish, I believe. Let's see. It's actually very, very close, but it is still bullish. So we never closed below this structure point here, therefore we are still bullish. Daily time frame is, however, bearish. And we are actually we're not. We're not at a weekly area of interest, and we're not really at a daily area of interest, unless you want to count this here as your weekly area of interest, which could be. Okay, let's say that's our weekly area of interest. Then we have weekly time frame, which is bullish, daily time frame bearish, 4-hour time frame is bullish. So we had a lower low, lower high, lower low, shift the structure, pull back, retest the double bottom, retest the head and shoulders, and we might be turning around for some buys here, which is nice, which would follow suit with all of the other JPY pairs, right? Okay, we're going to sort through those JPY pairs at the end. Weekly time frame on Euro GBP is bullish. Daily time frame is currently bullish, bearish. So we had a higher high, pull back, higher high above these highs, and then we had a shift structure to the downside on the daily time frame. So weekly is bullish, daily is bearish, 4-hour is also bearish. So we have this area of support resistance, we have this head and shoulders, and price has come back and retested it and sold. So we currently have 2 time frames in sync to sell. It is a little bit counter trend because most of the other trends are bullish. What I'd look for is a retest of the EMA, maybe a double top being created around here. And then I would try to enter after price kind of does this and comes back and then sells. So we don't want to be entering all the way up here. We want to be entering when price comes back to retest the previous structure or the double bottom or the neckline of the double top. So this right here would be our entry. And then around that same time, the EMA will probably be around here and kind of help price further down. Okay. Euro GBP, keep an eye on it for sells. Weekly time frame on AUD CAD. We have created a higher high. Daily time frame is also bullish. We created a higher high here. Now, we don't really have an area of interest unless we zoom out and go to the left, in which case we have this area of interest. We have 2 structure points here. Now we can make our area of interest a little bit bigger, potentially like so. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 structure points. In this case, we have to have a pullback to here and then a continuation to the upside. This could take a few days. So we're probably not going to be trading this week. GBP NZD. This one looks a little bit nicer. Weekly time frames also bullish. We have had a push to the upside. We have pulled back into a weekly previous structure and also a daily area of interest. Okay. Now this daily area of interest has 1, 2, 3 structure points. Three structure points on the daily time frame, and the 4-hour time frame is currently bullish. So we had a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, shift the structure to the upside. So now we're bullish on the 4-hour time frame. All we would wait for is the higher low to create the higher high. And if that happens, then I'd probably also wait for the retest of the neckline and then a break above the EMA, because this EMA has to go from holding price down to holding price up. Okay. So we will kind of look for something like this. I do like that one there. Um, okay, USD CAD, weekly bearish, monthly bullish, daily bullish, and 4 hour also bullish. Now, since we want to be buying from an area of interest, we don't really have much of a we don't really have much to work with here. Our weekly area of interest is technically right here. We have 1, 2, 3 structure points, and price, believe it or not, has already retested that daily area of interest, weekly area of interest, and has pushed up. Now, if price does come back to retest it, then we could potentially take buys. I don't think it's actually going to make it there, just from previous price action. I think that we have already I think we're already past that. I think we are kind of this last week was this candle, this red candle where we broke above, then we had retested it. That's this candle here. Next candle should be a bullish candle that just pushes past this area of interest completely. And if that's the case, then we might have to wait for a retest of the previous structures elsewhere. So if there's something like this where we have created a higher high and then like a little area of interest like so, and then you can see how this wick came back into the area of interest, this would be a great entry for buys. We don't have that right now. Right now, what we have is this, which is a little area of interest above where we're currently trading, and this could hold price down. So if this area of interest pushes us into this one, then we could take buys. If not, then we'll have to wait for the break above retest to continue to buy. So right now, I'm not interested, even though my bias is currently for longs. Weekly time frame on GBP CHF, very, very bearish. Daily time frame is also quite bearish. Lower low, we close below this structure point here. So yeah, very bearish there. 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame is bullish. So we had this huge push out of nowhere, kind of resembling what this looked like. If you look at it, this had a huge push to the upside, and then we broke below the EMA, and then the EMA kind of held us down, except for this is happening on a lower time frame. So if we zoomed in like so, it would kind of look similar to that. So if that's the case, then what I would expect is for this EMA here to kind of just hold price down until we break and retest underneath other structure points. What does that mean for us right now? Kind of means that we don't really have, let's see, do we have an area of interest? So we did have this area of interest here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 structure points, potentially 5 right there, and a few wicks in between. Price did enter this area. However, there isn't really much of a trade here. Your 4 hour time frame was bullish. It would have to be a very, very aggressive entry. There was Well, there was a shift to structure. I guess there was a shift to structure on the 30-minute time frame. You could have maybe gotten in somewhere around here. But for this week, I'm not really seeing too much other than a break and retest. Under here. Okay, so that would kind of give us a head and shoulder structure. And if that's still not enough, then we could wait for a break, retest, break, retest of the neckline, and then a continuation to the downside. Price likes to do this where it just creates multiple waves to the downside, and we can hop in on any pullback. I mean, realistically, we can hop in on this one, and it'll give us the same type of trade as if we were to hop in on the first one. So for this, it would be sells NZD USD. NZD USD weekly time frame has given us a selling candle. Daily time frame has given us a shift to the downside. So we have two time frames in sync to sell. We also have a pullback to previous structures here. So we have this area of interest here. We are underneath the EMA. I would prefer to have a deeper pullback, something like this, maybe further into this EMA area as well. But technically, we are already at these previous structures and we are already retesting them. So what we would need is a shift of structure and a reaction from this EMA. So that would look like this. Nice sell, nice retest, and continuation to the downside. But to make things less complicated, let's just say that our area of interest, that we are already at our area of interest, okay? So let's call this our area of interest and say we just need a confirmation to sell with the trend, okay? It kind of looks like right now we are in, like if you were to look at this, right? What happened here? We created equal structures. So we have a double bottom here and we have a double top here. That is similar to what's happening right here. We have a double bottom and we are creating a double top right here. Okay. So we're basically expecting the same thing. We're expecting price above the EMA and then below the EMA. So above the EMA and then we break below, quick retest and sell. AUD JPY. AUG, AUD JPY. Weekly time frame is bearish, or monthly time frame is bearish. Weekly time frame is bullish. Now, one thing you will notice on this time frame is that we have opens to the downside, and it looks like there's quite a bit of room for price to trade upwards. Weekly time frame is bullish. We have retested previous structure, which is right here. So we have already retested that with the wick. Daily time frame, we are at the daily area of interest. Or we have retested the daily area of interest and retested the EMA. Now, the 4-hour time frame has already shifted bullish. I mean, every JPY pair looks the same right now, so we're just going to toss it over there. We're expecting the same thing from all of them, and I could be wrong across all the pairs, and then that's fine. There's plenty of other pairs for us to watch at the same time. But as of right now, same thing here as the other ones as well. Okay. NZD CAD. NZD CAD weekly time frame is bearish. We had this lower low right here, then price came back up, shift the structure to the downside. Sorry. Sorry, my father texted me. So yeah, we're bearish on the weekly time frame, daily time frame. We have created I would kind of count this as a structure point, but just for the sake of it being a single candlestick, we won't count it as a structure point. So weekly time frame is bearish, daily time frame is bearish. 4-hour time frame is currently bullish. So 4-hour time frame is bullish. We have a lot of empty space up here. Now, what I do like about this is I like the fact that we have a lot of previous structures to the left, right? So if we were just to take this wick right here, drag it across, we have a few previous structures. We have the EMA, we have these previous structures, which had pretty extreme moves to the upside. So when we were below this area, we're selling. When we're above, we're buying. When we're below, we're selling. When we're above, we're buying, so on and so forth. I do like this from here for sells, okay? So let's draw a nice little area of interest, like so. And all we have to wait for is some kind of double top, triple top, head and shoulders, but overall just a break and retest and sell. Okay, so these NZD pairs, NZD CAD and NZD USD, very similar in terms of price action. You'll see that quite often. Same thing with AUD USD and AUD CAD. Did we already do AUD CAD? Yeah, we did. Okay. Now, weekly time frame, bullish. Daily time frame is also bullish. As you can see, I took a few losses here because we had this area of interest. Price had retested, and I entered a bit prematurely and then tried to get a re-entry and failed. So we're kind of in the same place as we were. I mean, literally identical place as we were for these trades, except for now, if I was to copy and paste this, we would be taking our trade parallel to those other buys. Stop loss can be basically the same underneath previous structures. And price seems to be setting up with a inverted head and shoulders. So you have your shoulder, you have your head, and you have your other shoulder. What's nice here is that instead of being under the 4-hour EMA, we are now above the 4-hour EMA. And that's going to be a big difference for us taking these buys, okay? So what do we have? We have weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is currently bullish. We have retested this EMA, which was what price was actually targeting, and it was also targeting this daily area of interest right here. So we have already taken out those levels, and now we're going to be focusing on moving upwards, okay? So price action was bearish, then it went bullish, and is currently bullish. No. Actually, yes. So we had a higher high, another higher high, lower low, shift structure, pullback, lower low, engulfing candle. So now we're bullish again. So the 4-hour is bullish above the EMA, retesting the neckline of this double bottom. So we count this as a double bottom, retesting the neckline and potentially pushing upwards as well. So I would literally look for a continuation, something like this, where price has exhausted itself to the downside. Let's draw a line immediately down the middle, like so, and see what it took price to react from this zone. So it almost looks identical. I mean, if you if you were to look at this right here, and you were to look at this right here, they're the same structure points. I mean, we found a bottom, we found a double bottom right here. Price reacted to the upside, price reacted to the upside, price retested the area of interest, price retested the area of interest. What do you think is going to happen afterwards? I mean, you tell me. I'm not here to teach you. It's pretty self-explanatory. So let's expect that to happen again. Our entry would come in on the lower time frames, obviously. So it would look something like a 30-minute shift to the upside. So we already have a higher high, shift the structure to the downside, potentially a lower low, and then another shift the structure to the upside, and then a push to the upside. So yeah, that's all we're really looking for is a nice sharp movement up and then a sharp movement back, retesting EMA, retesting previous structures, and continuation to the upside. Okay. Now, one thing I will note is the fact that we're looking for AUD USD buys, but NZD USD sells. Okay, that means one of those is going to be wrong. Our job is to be patient and wait to figure out which one of them is going to be wrong. Or if you want, just hop into buys on one and sells on the other and hope for the best, which is not recommended. AUD CHF. AUD CHF weekly time frame bearish, daily time frame bearish. Created a lower low, pullback, pullback. Might be creating a head and shoulders right here. Four-hour time frame is currently still bullish. So what we could do is we could wait for, since price is bearish across the board and we're clearly in a selling market, even if we're looking at the monthly time frame, we're very, very bearish. And all we have to wait for is for price to break underneath this EMA, for price to shift bearish on the 4-hour time frame, right? Shift bearish, retest to the EMA, and then continue to the downside. We have quite a big area of interest right here. But the fact that this price likes to consolidate so much in, like, as you can see, I've taken a lot of losses here. I took a loss here, took a small win. Actually, that's probably a loss too. So I took 4 or 5 losses on this pair. Therefore, I'm not too inclined to trade it. I don't think that I'm going to, as a matter of fact. We're just stuck in this consolidation level. I'm not really much of a scalper. So if you're a scalper, this is perfect for you. For me, this is less than ideal. Okay, Euro CHF monthly time frame. This one here is nice on the monthly time frame because we have this area here. Okay, so we're currently creating lower lows, and we have this level that needs to get broken through. Okay, and usually when price sets up like this, it's setting up for some pretty strong sells. Another reason I like this pair is because we have this monthly doji candle. And we also opened up, and we are currently on our way to the downside. So weekly time frame is bearish, daily time frame is under the EMA. It is currently bullish. So lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high. But the 4-hour time frame has gone bearish. So we have weekly bearish, daily bullish, 4-hour bearish. We have this head and shoulders looking pattern right here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. If we get a pullback into the EMA and a reaction to the downside, that could be fantastic. Now, the only issue is we're at a level of a lot of consolidation. Quite a lot of consolidation. But our profit targets are everywhere. So we could target this level first, and then this one, and then finally this one. And then if price decides to break through this strong level of reversal, which it hasn't done since 2023, then obviously there's going to be unlimited sells available down there. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. So all I'm waiting for is a retest of previous structure. If you want to call this a double top, you could. I mean, it's not really. If you want to call this a head and shoulders, you can. But I'm probably going to wait for a retest of previous structure and then a continuation to the downside there. GBP USD monthly time frame also kind of looks the same in terms of we're bullish, but we have this monthly doji candle. Here we have a double top. Weekly time frame is bearish. We have a double top. We're retesting the neckline of this double top. Daily time frame is currently underneath the EMA. We have reactions from the EMA already, and 4-hour time frame has already shifted bearish. Technically, it's bullish again. If you want to count this as an elbow, you can. If not, then we're currently bearish, and we're retesting previous structure. So all we're really waiting for is a reaction to the downside. If you want to wait for a pullback into these previous structures, wait for the EMA to catch up, you can. But I'm really loving this for sells. This is probably going to be one of my top pairs of the week. And then going into some of the trades that I took last week, this was one of the trades that ended up as break even. Weekly time frame. Last week we had a bullish engulfing. We had shifted bullish on the daily time frame. We pulled back into previous structure. I waited for a rejection candle. 4-hour time frame was also bullish, higher high, pullback, 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 technically shift the structure, pullback, EMA, previous structure. We took the buy. It was at almost a 1 to 2, and then it turned around. I closed at break even, so that sucks. Now what is it doing, right? So we have a weekly bearish engulfing. That actually changes a few things up for us. We retested the daily EMA and we're selling. So we're kind of creating a double top here on the daily time frame. What do I expect now? I probably expect a retest of these double tops, daily double top, 4-hour double top, retested the EMA, continue to sell with the major time frames. The buys were always a little bit risky, but now the sells are starting to show themselves as the preferable trade. So we're going to be looking for sells on USD CHF, trading with the weekly time frame, trading with technically the daily time frame is bullish, but trading with well, we only have one time frame in sync now that I look at it. Okay, so in that case, we're going to want price to first we're going to want price to first break below this level and then come back, retest and sell. Or if you're feeling risky, which I might be, you can just wait for the retest of the EMA. And then once the lower time frames show us that they're ready to sell, then we can take our sells. So that's going to be one of the pairs that I'm looking at as well. And then Euro CHF, which did eat me once, I think on, what is this, Monday? There's no way. Last week, Thursday. Okay. We're on the 2-hour time frame. Yeah, so I took a loss here, retested of the previous structures for buys, and then also took a loss after we retested the double top for sells. So it took 2 losses there. That's unfortunate. Now, Euro USD is going to follow GBP USD most likely. We are bullish on the weekly time frame. Daily time frame is currently bearish. Now we have retested this EMA. We're currently still above the EMA, which is probably why this loss happened. I'm still going to have to do a little bit of reviewing there, but it seems like we are caught inside of this. We have 1, 2. So yeah, we have this daily area of interest here, and then we also have this daily area of interest here, okay? So what does this mean for us? This means that if we're going to take buys with the major time frames, then we're going to have to break above this daily area of interest to take buys. And if we're going to be taking sells, then we're going to have to be waiting for price to sell under this area of interest for sells, right? Now, this is going to work for us because one, we have, if we break underneath here, then we will have a triple top or a head and shoulders pattern, right? Or then you retest neckline to sell. Or if we break above, then we'll be retesting previous structures, retesting the EMA as it comes up and over and swoops up and under price action. and then we'll be able to take those trades there. However, as of right now, 4-hour time frame is currently bearish, which means we have two time frames in sync to sell. So if price breaks above this area, then we'll have two time frames in sync to buy. Okay, so it's either this or it is this for this trade. So it's a little bit of a tricky one there. If we're strictly following what USD pairs are doing, so if it's like whatever USD, AUD USD, then we're having a little bit of differing opinions. GBP usually follows USD, or Euro usually follows GBP pretty closely. So those are probably going to move similarly at the end of the day. Anyways, are there any pairs that you guys are interested in before we go ahead and sort through these? Oh, for those of you guys who are here right now, I'm going to make the announcement really quickly again, which was we're going to be doing free market updates for about a week or two, most likely. Just encouraging everyone to join, be active, analyze the markets with me, get to know me a little bit better, and just incentive for you guys to get in front of the charts and for me to be more active in the community. So I hope you guys join and invite other people to join as well. All right, let's go ahead and look at what we have for this week. Now, Euro USD, since it's a little bit confusing, we're going to toss it down here and wait for a few more shifted structures. Okay, GBP USD, we have a bullish engulfing. Euro JPY, we have a bullish engulfing or a bullish candle. Okay, instantly, this is what stands out to me. Here we're under the EMA, which isn't anything new. We've been in the same situation before. But on these pairs, Euro JPY, we're above the EMA. CHF JPY, we're above the daily EMA. Excuse me. AUD JPY, we're above the daily EMA. GJ, below. USD JPY, technically below. And CAD JPY, we're very, very far below the EMA. So that's automatically makes these ones a little bit more attractive in terms of buys. However, if we look at the lower time frames, we're under the EMA on the 4-hour, under the EMA on the 4-hour, under the EMA on the 4-hour, and same with these. Okay, so I really don't think that it makes a difference for the daily EMA because of the fact that they're all going to have the same shift on the 4-hour EMA, therefore giving them that push on the daily EMA. So let's go ahead and look at other confluences. Okay. So I do like AUD JPY. AUD JPY has retested the previous structure really nicely. On some of these other ones, it is not as nice as that. I think USD JPY is probably the next best one. However, it's just so choppy in this area where we're trading that almost turned off to the fact that we need to trade that this week. CAD JPY is a little bit cleaner than USD JPY. GJ. GJ looks very, very nice. I'm not going to lie, just because of the fact that we have already seen this before in the past, and we can see how price is probably going to be reacting in the future as well. So I'm going to be focusing on GJ and AUD JPY. These other ones are all great opportunities as well. So we have one that is currently above the EMA and then one that is currently underneath the EMA on the daily. And then we'll just keep the other ones to kind of observe as price moves on. Euro USD, basically going to be waiting for the shift above or the shift underneath of the daily EMAs. Euro CHF, Euro CHF weekly time frame, monthly time frame. I do like Euro CHF a lot. We just have so much consolidation going on. Um, USD CHF and Euro CHF look quite similar. I do like how close we are to the EMA here and here as well. So we're hugging the daily EMA, which is usually a good sign. It usually gives us more selling pressure for the short term. AUD USD bullish. NZD USD. Okay. GBP NZD weekly time frame. Daily 4 hour. I do like this CHF. So we already have two CHF pairs, not going to be interested in that. JPY pair, I mean, we can just toss all the JPY pairs together right here. We're not going to be actively trading those. They do look nice, but there's too many of them. CHF pair, same thing. We'll just toss it right underneath. GBP CHF also right here. Now anything that's in the pairs section is not going to get traded most likely unless something doesn't set up for us up here, and then we might go looking for something else. AUD, Euro AUD, weekly bearish engulfing. Doesn't look fantastic. GBP NZD. Now I do like this daily reaction candle right here. I do like the 4 hour shift structure. I think that might be our last trade for the week. The last one we look at. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to disregard those and we're going to just pay attention to these right here. Weekly time frame, bearish, retesting previous structure, retesting EMA on the daily time frame. 4 hour time frame is currently bearish. We're just waiting for a lower time frame to set up for sells, or if you're feeling less risky, you're waiting for price to shift down, retest the neckline, and then sell. USD CHF. Here we are waiting for continuation to the downside. We have a daily bearish engulfing candle. 4 hour time frame has already shifted under the EMA. Now, technically, we need to wait for a 4 hour shift to structure, then a pullback, and then a sell. That would be for the best. Euro CHF has already had the 4 hour shift to structure. So technically, Euro CHF goes above. USD CHF daily time frame here is technically bullish, and weekly time frame is bearish. So yeah, Euro CHF goes above USD CHF. GBP NZD weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame has already pulled back into previous structure and into a daily area of interest. Daily time frame is bullish. 4 hour time frame has already shifted bullish. Therefore, we are just waiting for a pullback and a confirmation to buy. So that one goes above these two, technically in between Euro CHF and GBP USD. AUD USD weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is also bullish. Now, this one is going to be, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative with this one since I've already taken a few losses on this pair in the same area. And I also have a different opinion on USD pairs. So for NZD USD, I'm looking for sells. GBP USD, I'm looking for sells, but AUD USD, I'm looking for buys. It has nothing to do with the other pairs. That just has to do with market structure. Plus, we are in an area where sellers have come into this market, and it looks like they're already here. If you can see how price has sold into this area, therefore, we have to be a little bit more conservative. We might have to wait for a huge buy and then a pullback and then a buy. If that happens, then, like I said, we're probably going to be wrong about the other USD pairs, which is fine. We only need to take one good trade, and that's all we need. Weekly time frame. We had a bearish engulfing here last week. Weekly time frame is bullish. Here we have a bullish candle. Now, understand that we are technically under the EMA. There might be some resistance here. There's a good chance that we might create a doji and then just retest this daily EMA and sell from here. That is a possibility. The daily is technically bearish. Yes, the 4-hour has shifted bullish. So all we're waiting for is a retest of the neckline of the head and shoulders, or the inverted head and shoulders, for a continuation to the upside. And then GBP, JPY is the same thing. Technically, these two can go right here. And then this one I'm probably going to toss right here just so that I can keep an eye on it. AUD JPY, GBP JPY. So this one's going to go above this one. The daily time frame is above the EMA, and the 4-hour time frame is technically already retesting previous structure. All we're waiting for is a lower time frame indication to buy. Okay. What you guys got? Any comments, concerns, questions? Philip, it's nice to have you. I was on a call with Esai and them. They said that you guys were trading together sometime, so that's pretty cool. I might join some of those later. Um, but yeah, gonna be doing a few changes. Got Euro NZD for buys. Euro NZD for buys. Okay. I mean, so do I. I'd like a little bit more of a pullback because we're kind of in no man's land. But if for some reason price does this, where we're below and then we break above, retest buy, like right here, if we were to do this, then you're probably good to take buys. Now, what I am going to say, and I have to make the announcement for the whole community, but when I come home from out of country, I do plan on going back to school. It's a promise that I made to my parents. So I have to kind of figure out how to balance that, how to balance running this community, doing signals and all that other stuff. But I'm a man of my word, so I have to figure out how to do it. We already had the conversation before I left. So in January, hopefully that's when I'm going to be going back to school. I'm not sure what I'm going to be studying yet, most likely something along the lines of business. Now, what that means for me is that I have to, one, get all my ducks in a row, meaning figure out mentorships. If anyone else wants mentorships, that's going to have to happen in the next month or two. I'm going to have to figure out signals. Signals shouldn't be that difficult. If my classes are in the afternoon, I can trade New York session pretty freely. And waking up in the middle of the night has never been an issue for me before. I used to work a full-time job and trade. I used to go to school and trade, so it's nothing new for me. But what I am going to be interested in doing is doing this a little bit more passively in terms of trying to find people to maybe run webinars on the community or do live streams or do signals, something that I can, have less stress on my shoulders, and then somebody else can also benefit from um, being active in the community. So those are all things that I'm thinking about currently. So if that's you, if you want to do that, then let me know and we can hop on a call and talk about it. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up so that it's not like unexpected. But yeah, Thank you guys for joining. If there are no other questions, then I'll see you guys in the next call. And the next call will be tomorrow for free. So I hope to see you guys there. We're going to do a nice market update. I'm trying to figure out times. This is a little bit late for me. It is currently, what time is it? 11:30 at night. So I can't do this every single time. So I'm thinking maybe during New York session sometime we might hop on these calls for a little while. I'm not going to give you guys a solid time just yet. I'm still trying to figure out scheduling, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I figure out when. It might just be like, hey, I'm sending a Zoom link right now. Whoever's here can join. All right. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for the support as always. And I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.